That sounds like a great job, Sophie. No wonder you're so well. Delightful to be here. Thank you, Leanne. And so I'll start with the poem I had in the beautiful swing. So I've got, thanks to the vagaries of the small press, after having at that point not had a book of poems out in 6 years, it looks like I've got 2 coming out next year within about 5 months of each other, which is not ideal. And they're coming out in the reverse order. To make it worse for me. But this is from the book that was written first. It's coming out second, called Negotiable Gods. I'm probably going to use it as the lead poem, I think, after your vote of confidence. It's called Dizzying. The single morning glory and the fierce summer sun and clear sky and 47 daylilies. Yesterday's 61 properly deadheaded and birds nonstop at the feeder and 4 eggs in the newly nested bluebird box and the handful of ripe blueberries plucked from our bush before the squirrels took them, and it just continued from there. The rich coffee and cream, the afternoon walk to the creek on 2 healthy legs, cushioned sandals on my feet, rubies of wild strawberries all around, and the turkey hen flushed. How big her chicks have gotten. And 2 herons rising from the water and a dozen turtles sunning on the flat rocks, black shells huge as dinner plates. And the mail waiting in the mailbox. Too much, too much. And best of all, Lucy alive, 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 soft and smelling good and muzzling. Lucy all day in my steaming bath of aromatic suds and my favorite soft shirt, and the delivery man with a novel for me to begin on the porch with a potent Mai Tai, and the young buck who appeared from the trees at sunset to watch me for a long moment, and on and on. The 2 farm eggs I poached in sweet butter for my dinner, and the bread and the pinch of coarse salt, and the whole day like that. Cascade of miracles, ceaseless and overwhelming. And if only you had been here, so it would all work. So the rest of these are from the second book. Lucy died on July 31st, so in these weeks before that, she was getting frailer, and the subsequent months, which were a pretty rough patch, I started writing pretty obsessively. And these aren't about her, but all the poems about this book are about her. And so that's the book that's coming out first. It's called Goodbye Baby. And I decided to shake things up a little bit for myself, just arbitrary. I like arbitrary rules. So I decided all the poems would be 12 lines long. I decided they'd be untitled. And I wrote them all in the late afternoon, which I never write in the afternoon. I always write in the morning. If I thought of some more rules, I would have thrown those into, but that's how they go. So here's a couple. For a change, I kind of like not having titles. Just jump right on. Let's roll, right? So here we go. We soaked our sandals when crossing the Rubicon. They dried out quick enough on that dusty road to Damascus. We marched on, parsed for epiphany, a name changer to cement places in cruel history, define us as the good guys we believed ourselves. Late in the story for resurrections, ours didn't happen. Donkey this, leper that, never the cool cleansing sip of water. The dead stagger from tombs, consider retreat behind their stone. It's all about image. Crushed rebellion was bad for ours. You know how this ends. I just pray, 6,000 bemused, severed heads lighting the Appian Way. Mine looks handsome on its pike. That was for you, Jeff. I was thinking about you while I was reading.
Thank you.
When the time of flood at last replaced the time of drought, its winds brought not rebirth but deluge, not cleansing but torrent, not rejoicing but retribution. The time of lamentation arrived as prophesied. From its shadow, the time of tentative faith, time of renewed privilege, the time of false glory, of course, the time of willful blindness, followed by the time of fire's return, the time of final reckoning. Beyond the time of great and lasting darkness, however, no record remains. So, I finally tackled a cento. I've never been that enamored of the form. They always look like more fun to the redactor than to the reader. But I thought I'd take a crack at one. I wasn't strictly, so all these lines are written by other people, and I'll read you the list at the end. And I wasn't really that religious about sticking line to line, but it's in the ballpark. coming to steal my eyes, to seal my mouth with dirt. And like a bird, I sang my hallelujah into the air. My song belongs to no one. Better than any argument is to rise at dawn and pick dew-wet berries in a cup. I have lost the consolation of faith, though not the ambition to worship. They will offer light to one who is blind. Illness, madness, and death were the black angels that stood by my cradle. We couldn't imagine another way to live. Impossible is temporary. Impossible is nothing. But as the rain enters the soil, river enters the sea, so tears run to a predestined end. I miss you in a quite simple, desperate human way. To say goodbye is to die a little. So that was Cormac McCarthy, Clarice Lispector, Wendell Berry, Forrest Gump, Leonardo da Vinci, Edvard Munch, Umberto Eco, Muhammad Ali. Impossible is nothing. The Gypsy Woman from the Wolfman, and Vita Sackville West in a letter to Virginia Woolf in January 1926, and Raymond Chandler. So I was writing a lot, and I had this 12-line rule, and so I tried to belabor that a bit with all the 12s I could think of. There's a poem about what happened to the apostles once they separated. There's rewrote AA's 12 steps. I pretty much beat it to death with what I could think of. So eventually, getting along material, I had to do something with 12 Days of Christmas, right? And I always tell my students to put food in the poetry, and there was all these birds in the poem, so I ended up just cooking most of them. So, see what you think, okay? And these are all brand new. 12 drunken drummers drummed out of town. 11 pipers wheezing through tubercular lungs. It's a happy little book, by the way. 10 leaping lords, arthritic, lame for their holy season. 9 ladies dancing, touching each other discreetly. 8 disgraced maidens no longer a milking. 7 domestic swans slaughtered by the gamesman. 6 organic geese humanely raised, sold for ransom. 5 tarnished rings of betrayal. 4 rumored calling birds extinct. 3 fat French hens spatchcocked for the fire. 2 turtle dove breasts wrapped in pepper bacon. A partridge poached lightly in brandy and pear. These, my true love, did truly give to me. Do y'all want to come in and say that? No? You're in time for the 2-poem call there. Yeah. Okay, so on a lighter note, when the death angel comes, let it be on a winter morning, cold and clear and still, the bare arms of birches raised in crooked reverence to the sky. Let the kingfisher, swift and low over the unbroken mirror of the creek, call out arrival of his brethren. And if any still exist to note your absence, let them know that nothing remains to mourn or cherish, nothing to praise or regret, no majesty in the passing. Just the great muscled wings closing over you in embrace, returning you to that abiding dark of your beginning from where you will not return. Let it be on a fair winter morning, identical to this. So thanks very much. I'm glad that it looks like the sun's coming out. And so I have one more poem. Hang on. And I know you're anxious. I know, but I know. All right. So I for a long time, so I was using up all my notes on these things, and for a long time I wanted to write a poem about all the great parts that Shakespeare supplies to actors through his entire life. And I thought this would be a long, ponderous, quite tedious, multi-part poem, but I managed to get it down in 12 lines, starting by dismissing Romeo in one line. That helped, and then moving on. But the genesis partly was I realized I stayed in my Hamlet phase too long, and suddenly got tired of that and realized I need to be in deep Macbeth territory with some bloodshed. So even that's going to be, I think, slightly abbreviated because I already got one foot into Lear. So here you go. Here's the whole career in 12 lines. And the epigraphs from Lear: come not between the dragon and his wrath. And thanks very much for your attention. I appreciate it. My flat-footed Romeo, blind in her son, dismissed. And my Hamlet I now now realize played to exhaustion. Must I always be a whore unpacking the heart with words? Bury the damn father. So I arrived late to the joys of my Macbeth, arrogant, heedless, barking mutual destruction. Blood will have blood, and brother, it won't just be mine. But a limited engagement is that violence informs neatly my unhinged leer, seething in dementia, one boot already tapping the boards. Who can tell me who I am? You think me madman, fool? Baby, I'll bring the terrors of the earth. To finish it, Prospero, emerging from the refuge of my library into hell's tempest. Watch the magic. This thing of darkness I acknowledge mine. Thank you.